And I think we're going to need someone.
Can you? I know Annapolis is Byzantine, but I'm curious, were there issues where you felt a certain approach, where there was division about approach? Was it up or down type of stuff? You know, a bill was coming along and there was a debate about whether constituents would be better served with a yes vote or a no vote. Be specific as you can.
See, I think that it's the communication lines. I think the communication line was not there. The unfortunate incident with Senator Britt passing away caused a havoc in the delegation. And I think this election is going to go, I think, a long way to serving District 47 residents, to unite us and to start working for them, because ultimately we're here to work for the residents.
Senator Harrington?
Well, I think that's a very, very interesting comment. First, what I would say, Bruce, is that I am someone who unites people. I have a program called Community First that brings people together, and in fact, facilitated a conversation among the mayors, civic associations, and nonprofits to help write a proposal to the federal government that brought millions of dollars to roads and improvements in District 47. Quite honestly, what this Delegate Ramirez is bringing up is interesting, because as soon as I came into the Senate, I tried to have joint communication and newsletters go out like Senator Britt did. When I contacted Delegate Ramirez's office, letters had already gone out without communicating to me. For 2 years in a row, that's happened. Both times I contacted Delegate Ramirez's office, contacted other delegates' office to say, let's put out a joint newsletter. The election's going to be the election. But when I contacted these offices, they refused to put out joint statements about legislation that we were passing, what were we doing in the district together.
Do you think he was
already? And these letters already went out even before I contacted, without any communication.
Delegate Ramirez, I want to give you a chance to respond, but do you suspect that he was already then, given the passing of a legendary person in Maryland politics, Gwendolyn Britt, do you think he was already eyeing the Senate seat at that time?
I can't speak for Delegate Ramirez, and I won't. What I will say, and Delegate Ramirez knows this, and you do know this, that I had meetings with the delegates. As soon as I became senator, I had meetings with the delegates to talk about how we could put in joint legislation together. I had those meetings. Delegate Ramirez knows that. Tried to get out joint communication. Letters went out to the voters.
Delegate Ramirez, jump in.
Without
thank you very much, Bruce. I think there's a miscommunication, and you know, with all due respect to the senator, I think there is a miscommunication line between his office and my office. I can only speak for my office. But Bruce, we're here to hear the voices, to hear the concerns of the residents. And I think it's time to unite District 47 again.
Let me talk about an issue that I know people are concerned about, the fate and future of Prince George's Hospital Center. For years, this has been something that state and local officials have talked about, sometimes with one another, sometimes together, though frankly I think not that often. What's the way forward? Delegate, you first.
Well, Bruce, it's a good question, and I received the SEIU endorsement, which I'm very proud of, because they have the faith that I'm the future and I'm going to protect the Prince George Hospital system. Back in 2007, I proposed legislation to have the University of Maryland system take over the hospital, make it a teaching hospital, and make it a first-class hospital. And that's what I intend to do, keep the hospital open for the residents, citizens of Prince George's County. Senator?
Well, I think, of course, I want to keep the hospital open. But it's going to be more than just saying we want it to be a teaching hospital. The hospital has $200 million worth of debt, because 20% of those who visit the hospital are uninsured. $60 million is because of bond indebtedness. We must solve the financial crisis at the hospital. How do we do that? We have a federal, state, and local effort. The federal government, we must add clinics to reduce that 20% of uninsured patients. I've worked with local congressmen to begin to have talks with Health and Human Services to bring more clinics. Number two, with the state, we must change then our rate-paying system. Our the rates at the hospital have increased, making it outside of the marketplace and competitive in the marketplace. So what we must do is then change those rates and recalculate those rates. And thirdly, we must enter into public-private partnerships to begin to build a new hospital.
20 seconds.
And that will make it a teaching hospital.
20 seconds each, because I've got to get to break in less than a minute. The endorsements you're proudest of, just list them. No embellishment, please.
Environmental groups have endorsed me, Equality Maryland has endorsed me, and Attorneys for Justice have endorsed me.
Delegate Ramirez.
Thank you. SEIU, Equality of Maryland, and the FOP, and our good state's attorney, Glenn Ivey.
Has the Washington Post weighed in yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are we expecting it?
No. I'm sorry.
The Post, I think, is rolling out their endorsements
Sure.
now. Has the Gazette endorsed?
Yes, they came out with their endorsement today.
Any other community newspapers?
Not that I know of.
Talking with State Senator David Harrington and Delegate Victor Ramirez. We'll pause here. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more News Talk here on TBD right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to our News Talk debate here on TBD. I'm Bruce DePoy. Thanks for being with us today. I'm seated alongside Prince George's County State Senator David Harrington. He's the incumbent in the 47th District state. He is the state senator from the 47th District. Delegate Victor Ramirez is a fellow Democrat from the 47th District seeking to become a state member of the state Senate. We have a number of questions that have come in via email. I'm going to start getting to those right now. If you'd like to ask a question yourself and you're watching us live in the 10 o'clock hour, you may, and we'd be happy to have you. Our number is 703-387-1020. A number of questions have come in over the course of the last couple hours by email. The first one is from Sarah. It's for you, I believe, Senator Harrington. You endorsed Michael Steele in 2006. Can you name some of the policies of his with which you agree?
None of them. Absolutely none of them. And in fact, as Delegate Ramirez knows, at another session that we had, I've written a letter to Michael Steele, letting him know that I'm disappointed in his leadership, as well as steps that he has taken to more divide us than unite us. That effort was a protest. It was a protest to bring attention to the fact that for 75 years we have not elected a person of color in the head of our ticket. We had an opportunity to do that, we didn't. But let me say this, I'm a Democrat. I've been rated as a progressive Democrat by Progressive Maryland. I'll continue to be a Democrat. I support Ben Cardin, and I will continue to do so. That was an isolated protest.
Do you regret it in hindsight?
I don't regret it. I think the message was correct. Perhaps it wasn't the right strategy. And I've since then had diversity dialogues with the party as well as people in the community.
Delegate Ramirez, your thoughts on the senator's decision back in '06 to endorse a Republican?
Well, Bruce, I don't want to speak, I don't for the senator, but I was disappointed. I think that I believe we had a progressive Democrat running against a conservative Republican at a time when one senator would have switched the balances in the U.S. Senate. I think it was super important to stick with our Democratic candidate, who was Ben Cardin at the time. And I think if there was problems within the party, that's something you discuss within the party, but you don't do it at the risk of Obamacare, which we have over 100,000 people in Prince George County that do not have health insurance. And if we would have Michael Steele in there, Michael Steele would have voted against the Obamacare. Now, what would we have? Are we looking out for the residents of Prince George's County, or whose interests are we looking out for?
We were always looking out for the residents of Prince George's County. The fact of the matter is, if you look at what really happened in Congress, yes, we have Obamacare, but we don't have the kind of health insurance that that we like. We want single-payer insurance that we never got because of conservative Democrats. And unless we begin to make sometimes audacious moves that begin to address full health care for all, they will never be able to reach those goals.
Let me jump in because time is starting to get away from us. I have an email question. It's about immigration. The person concerned about what they described as the aiding and abetting of the large number of illegal aliens in the state of Maryland, and thus creating a sanctuary state for them, according to this person. And please describe why Casa de Maryland receives so many tax dollars from the state of Maryland, for both.
Well, I think, do we have an immigration problem in the United States? We do. I think we need immigration reform. We needed it yesterday, we need it today, and we have to encourage Congress to solve our immigration problems.
Well, we have to look at what does immigration reform look like. What immigration reform looks like is allow people who want to be citizens to become citizens. We have to now deconstruct the bureaucracy that prevents people from becoming citizens and get out of this hate-filled rhetoric of assuming that people, because of their certain nationality, are illegal aliens. They're not illegal aliens, and we have to provide them bureaucratic means through which they could become citizens.
I want to give each of you 1 minute, and we've only got 2 minutes left in the discussion, so let me give each of you a minute to sort of wrap up your pitch to the voters of the county. Delegate Ramirez, we'll start with you first.
Thank you very much, Bruce. To the District 47 residents, I began my career, I'm not a public career politician, as they say. I began my career in public service 8 years ago because the government was not working for us. I was a pro bono attorney in Prince George's County, and I would write letters, make phone calls to government agencies, and they weren't returning the phone calls. I got into public office to make government work for us. I believe that I have done that for the past 8 years. I ran on a platform to be an assertive, to be an accessible, to be a progressive, and to be a hardworking public servant to you. And that's what I promise again for the next 4 years, that you'll have a public servant that's there for you all the time, not just on election year.
Delegate Ramirez, thanks. Senator Harrington, a minute for you.
Yeah, I want to talk to the voters right now because there was a question about whether or not I'm a uniter. Well, let's answer that question. Together we have built new schools, new roads. Together we have started a wellness movement in our community that has brought health care to our community. We have new farms in our community, urban farms in our community. Together we have brought nonprofits that have brought thousands of dollars to our community. Together we have brought jobs in our community that have employed our youth. So the question is whether or not I'm a uniter. Yes, I'm a uniter because you can see with the progress and even in the impossible of building a railroad overpass by Peace Cross, that was the impossible. Together we made that happen. And so on September and on election day, you have an opportunity to focus on communities. And that's why we have a community first movement to change government so that government does not focus on itself, but focuses on communities first. I have done that, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
The primaries on the 14th, early voting right around the corner. Maryland State Senator David Harrington, Democratic Delegate Victor Ramirez, thank you both for coming in. Good to have both of you here. Back with a program note right after this.